This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along. I am Amanda, your host of the SmackDown review. And first of all, let me start off with an apology. I'm sorry, I know this show is coming later than it normally would. Had hideous internet issues which stopped me even watching the show on Netflix. I'm now recording about 9:30 on a Saturday night. I've only just finished watching SmackDown. My internet's only just come back, and I'm hoping that it holds out so I can get the recording done. So, apologies for the lateness. Before we start the review, let's have a look at the predictions that I made last week. Let's see how they worked out, and I think I did pretty well. So, first prediction was the Intercontinental title match between Dominic, Penta and Rusev. My pick here was Dom, and that was spot on, although they do seem to be fully refusing to turn Dom face. Next up, we've got Jade versus Tiffany. This is as I feared. We got Jade and Tiffy drops the title. Boo. Punk versus Jay. Thank God Punk is champ at last, and long may he reign. Drew versus Cody, had a Cody win here, and that's what we got. Now, what about any returns? Well, no returns as such, but we did get Cena's announcement of a tournament to determine his last opponent. He said it could be any brand. He also said expect some people that don't even work here. So I am sticking with Jericho, and I will die on that hill. Right, let's get to it and review the SmackDown that aired 7th of November from Greenville. And we start off with one of our looks back over Saturday night's main event. And first out tonight we have Cody. And he, as always, asks the crowd what they want to talk about. He says we can talk about Saturday night's main event. He says Drew introduced the title into the match and introduced a weapon. And the crowd do a whole round of Cody Rhodes. And he says what a great show it's going to be tonight. He gets back on track and goes back to Drew. He says Drew does not understand the reluctance to pull the trigger has cost him in the past, and there was no way that he was going to hesitate versus Drew. He goes on to say how impressive Drew is and how when he walks into a room, everyone turns around. He also says that he's the most self-sabotaging wrestler in history of the business. He says that Drew, he's now in his rearview mirror and he's moving on. And he says that tonight he wants to do something different and he wants to go sit in the crowd and watch. And he says then we can all decide who gets the title shot next. We then get Black out. Aleister Black, his music hits. He comes out with Zelina and he tells Cody that if he's moving on, he says he is ready for something new. So he would be perfect opponent. He says he has a chip on his shoulder and it's about the size of the championship. Cody takes off his tie, so obviously he means business, but before he can go for Black, Zelina pretty much slaps his face off. Nick appears and tells him to chill. He sets the match and they get the main event. Now, hang on a second. Black's just come off a couple of title shots at the US title, hasn't he? And he lost. How does he jump from a mid-card loser to top of the shop like that? Hoping that this one is one and done, so to speak. A pretty standard opening to tonight's show. Obviously, Cody out first. Challenge from Black. It's all just a bit weird. We now get some arrivals. I was a bit worried then that we weren't going to get to see people arriving with their suitcases, but no, I didn't need to worry. We've got them. We've got Bliss and Flair arriving. Flair's going to go one-on-one with Nia Jax tonight. And we've got our new champ, Jade, too. Jesus. Ilya Dragunov with another open challenge. And in the walkway, he goes nose to nose with Tama Tonga. So I'm guessing at some point we're going to get him as the challenger. But who's it going to be tonight? Ilya says for the legacy of the championship and the challenge, who will step up? We get Ciampa's music, and he comes out mic in hand with Johnny and Candice. He says that he came out last week to answer the challenge, but Ilya denied him and called him a jackass. He goes over his accomplishments. He's a 2-time NXT champion, and he's a 2-time something else champion. And he says he's come to Greenville to be surrounded by jackasses to tell him that the title is his. He says, ring the bell, and gets in the ring. The crowd are chanting jackass. And Ilya says, you were right, I accept the challenge from him, but he points at Johnny. Johnny looks a bit sheepish, but nevertheless, he pretty soon jumps in and takes the opportunity. Ciampa backs off and seems to head backstage. And we've got this match. This is Ilya versus Johnny. And Johnny starts off pretty strong with Candice at ringside. Ilya, though, quickly fighting back with, I think, 3 very impressive suplexes in a row. Johnny with some brilliant moves, hitting a wicked-looking Poison Rama, which looks pretty cool. This one finishes off after about 10 minutes, a massive kick by Ilya with a huge suplex back into the ring from the apron, which is pretty impressive looking, a real feat of strength. Really very impressive. He finishes it off with an H-bomb. So we get Ilya Dragunov retaining, of course. Now, I'm really enjoying this open challenge. I'm loving seeing Ilya in full flow and once again make his opponents look awesome. I mean, Johnny is pretty awesome. He doesn't need much help. I guess we got Ciampa up next, then Tama Tonga in the wings. I hope Ilya Dragunov keeps hold of the title for a while, though, because I'm loving what he's doing with it. Next, we go backstage where Nick is chatting to one of the refs, and we get Sammy in, and he wants to talk to Nick. He said he's had enough of the MFTs. He said he isn't cleared, but he wants to be at ringside to help Phoenix later. Nick says no way, he can't take that liability. Sammy says fine, but he won't stand around for much longer. We then get Truth in. He says he wants to be in the draw for Cena's last opponent. Nick says your name's already in. So Truth takes his balls and leaves. So let's break down that segment really quick. So let's talk about Sammy. I mean, what is the point of this? Sammy isn't cleared. He wasn't cleared last week, and he isn't cleared this week. So why does he keep asking? Literally no one else does. They just run in willy-nilly whenever they think they will. I don't get it, really. Honestly, what is the point? I guess we're building that Sammy's a really, really good guy and he just wants to help his friends. Just seems pointless. Fella. That's what I think. Fella. Then the Truth bit. Just an excuse for balls to be said a few times on TV. I bet Triple H still laughs at his farts. And now another look back at Saturday night's main event and the travesty that is Jade Cargill being our new champ. We go back to Ciampa backstage and Johnny calls Ilya a psycho and fracks him appear and call Ciampa a jackass and basically take the mickey out of him, and he looks suitably fuming. We now get Jade out to what sounds on the TV like boos and some cheers. Honestly, when WWE wanted us to cheer for Jade when she was a face, we didn't, and now she's a heel. She seems to be getting some cheers, which is weird. She's got on some weird S&M outfit, but that's her choice, right? Cole says to Corey, it was just a matter of time. Me, personally, I would say it was grimly inevitable, like a BBC Sport montage at the end of the Olympics with a song by Paul McCartney, or Wales going out of any major football tournament at the group stage is grimly inevitable. Anyway, Jade is in the ring looking very heelish. She says, you all saw what happened to Tiffy, and that goes for anyone else in the locker room. She says, I'm that bitch, chuck the mics, and leaves. She's met on the ramp by Charlotte, which makes the crowd erupt. It seems, though, that Flair and Bliss were just making their entrance for Flair's match with Nia and not intentionally Charlotte challenging Jade, but that's definitely the tone here. They faced off on the ramp, and Flair really wanted to get some of Jade. Now, let's not jump the shark. I don't want to see Charlotte go straight back into the singles title picture. I would like to see her have her 15th title soon, and I would absolutely love her to be the one to whoop Jade. But let's have a bit more Flair and Bliss before they split, please. So Flair is out here to face Nia. Before then, though, we have Chelsea backstage with Alba. And Meechin and B-Fab are there. Meechin tells her that she already isn't the longest reigning champ because Giulia just passed her. To be fair to Chelsea, though, as I said last week, WWE have done the sum total of Sweet FA with Giulia and the belt, and it's been an absolute cluster. Chelsea goes off on one, telling them that she's already the greatest champion on SmackDown, only for Jade to appear behind her. Jade says she's going to kick a hole in Chelsea's chest if she doesn't shut up, and Chelsea disappears. Jade tells B-Fab to move, and B-Fab starts chopping off and slagging her off to Meechin, to which Jade comes back and tells B-Fab she does what she does, and if she has a problem, she can step into the ring with her next week. So that will be probably an absolute massacre of B-Fab then. Hey, look. Maybe the Women's Championship on SmackDown is now the mid-card belt. I mean, Champion Jade, and the first match, B-Fab. Jesus. Out comes Nia, and there is a ton of woos instead of boos. And this one kicks off with Jax trying to outpower Flair, and Flair trying the same thing. Nothing doing for either. They're pretty much cancelling each other out. Charlotte manages to down Nia and lays into her, but is flattened quickly by a headbutt. Charlotte, of course, putting up a good fight and has the crowd 101% behind her. She's doing well, and now we've got those patented Flair chops as well. Nia misses the Annihilator, but manages to get Flair up on her shoulders. Flair has Nia tied up on the ropes and delivers a knee to the chest, earning Flair a near pin. From nowhere, random event of the night, Lash Legend comes through the crowd and starts assaulting Bliss at ringside. This distracts Charlotte enough to allow Nia to hit the Annihilator and take the win to absolutely massive boos. Well, that was completely unexpected. Looks like Lash and Nia have buddied up. Rent-a-mate, I guess. So there we have it. Lash Legend called up. And as a heel, paired with Nia, the botched Jax. Now, I haven't seen much of Legend, but I have seen a bit. I know she's good, so maybe that's why she's been teamed up with old Botchy Chops. Are we getting them as a tag team? Looks likely. And will it be them that take the titles, or will it be the Kabuki Warriors? Now, I wouldn't mind seeing Nia and Lash Legend face the Kabuki Warriors. What a clashing style that would be. So that was a surprise, and let's see where it goes. I have been whinging on and saying for weeks, if not months, that we need some new blood in the women's roster on SmackDown, and now we have some. So you can't complain. We get a bit more info on the draw of this final tournament for Cena. It's going to be Miz and Jey Uso, which we knew. The second match, LA Knight versus a surprise. Please let it be Jericho. And now we've got the US title match, Giulia with Kiana James in her handbag versus Chelsea Green. Before then, though, Kathy's got Nia and Lash Legend backstage, and she asks how this pairing came about. Nia says her and Lash aren't friends, they are allies. She's just taking the pee out of Flair and Bliss, though. She says they said she needed a friend, and now she has a friend, and the joke's on them because she's found Lash. She says they faced each other over on NXT. She knows what a badass Lash is, and that's why she's her friend. Lash says she's the bougie bully and says clearly she is what she says she is. She says they're going right to the top, and tonight was just the beginning. So, yes, to them being a team then. Well, that's interesting. You can colour me intrigued. So back to this title match, and out comes Chelsea to a good reception. Another example of WWE trying really, really hard to force somebody to be a heel with all the gimmick and the character work, but actually we just want to cheer Chelsea. We really like her. And we're off, and Chelsea starts off with a slap to Giulia, who gives her a headbutt back in return. Giulia hits the Arrivederci and gets a 2 count. Giulia is dominating. We've got Kiana behind the ref's back. And then, from literally nowhere, we have Chelsea and a sneaky roll-up of Giulia with feet on the ropes, and she gets the win, and Chelsea is our new champion. Wow. A title change in a match under 2 minutes in the middle of a SmackDown from random wherever the hell it is in USA, way to bury not only Giulia, but also the title. I mean, I'm delighted to see Chelsea back as champ. Don't get me wrong, but wow. How is a random match between Cody and Aleister Black for literally nothing main event, and this is buried? Just wow. What next for Giulia? What next for Kiana? And more importantly, her handbag. I mean, please just let us see a US title open challenge on the women's side, please. My flabber is well and truly gasted. I think the match was under 2 minutes. It's literally on the 1 hour mark of the show. And WTF is the main event. This is all I've got. I am just shocked. Backstage now with the MFTs, and they're all looking very cross. Perhaps someone has broken in and messed up their face painting box or something. Solo tells them good job last week, but it wasn't good enough. Sammy is still walking around. The Wyatt Six have something that belongs to the family, as does Ilya Dragunov. He tells Talatonga to go out there and make a statement. Wyatt Six appear. And does anyone know what belt Nikki Cross is carrying? Or is it just one of those replica, weird ones? Answers on postcard, please. We now have that match. This is Ray Phoenix versus Talatonga, and pre-match some help for Phoenix as Motor City Machine Guns and Shinsuke take out the rest of MFTs, but that does not last long. Predictably, Talatonga using his massive power advantage to smash Phoenix up a bit, but Phoenix not doing too bad using his speed, but is smashed again and then again for good measure. And Phoenix is getting absolutely mullered here, and the crowd are hating this. Talatonga dominating and takes the win, which literally surprises no one. Talatonga and Solo going for some afters, but Sammy's music hits. Naughty Sammy, and he chases off Solo and Tonga with a chair. We then get some excellent pointing from Solo, and it isn't even Mania season yet, so, he's getting in there early. But Sammy asked, and he got told no, and he came down with a chair anyway. I mean, you know what they say, it's always better to seek forgiveness rather than permission, and I think this is the case here. Anyway, some matches for next week. We've got confirmed Jade versus B-Fab, and the mystery match LA Knight versus Surprise Please Be Jericho. We have Miz backstage with Kathy. She asks him about Mello. He says that was perspective, not payback. He says he made Mello relevant. He says he beat Cena at Mania, and there shouldn't be a tournament. He should be the final opponent. He says highlights fade, legacy doesn't. And he says he will be the one that ends Cena's career. I think Miz has got the wrong end of the stick there. It's not ending his career, it's his final opponent. You're not trying to kill the guy. Anyway, I don't think so. Can you imagine what an anticlimax that would be? Cena versus Miz. Maybe 10 or 15 years ago, but not in 2025. No thanks. Main event time now, and I say that through gritted teeth and the smoke of my burning bra, as I am outraged. This hastily pulled together rando match is the main event. Anyway, off we go. With an even start, both guys taking each other down. This is about 100 miles an hour, this match. After Black landing pretty much everything he has in his locker, Cody kicks out numerous times. He finally hits Cody Cutter and gets a close cover. Regaining control briefly, both men take each other down with a double kick, and then surprising no one, we've got Drew out. However, what is surprising is that he claymores the ref. What the hell? That was unexpected, but he clearly has an issue with this official. I'm guessing that this is the same guy that officiated his match at Saturday night's main event. Either that or Drew's just completely lost his shit. He's telling him all about it as he's laying there on the mat in Cloud Cuckoo Land. Cody, our hero, to the rescue, takes out Drew, and then Black gets stuck in, and now we've got both Drew and Black on Cody. We've then got Priest music hits, and he comes out to make the save, and it all breaks down. Priest taking out Black, Cody taking out Drew. It's a right old brawl at ringside. And then we get Nick come out, puts a stop to it all, and he suspends Drew, telling him that he'd warned him and that he had this coming. And we go off air. We've basically got Nick in Drew's face, telling him that he's suspended and that's it. So that's Drew out of the picture and on for some kind of dramatic return at some point. Be interesting to see how they return him, whether they try and turn him face, or will he stay his heely-most heel? Well, I don't really know what to say about that show. Not a great one. That main event was a bust, with the exception of Drew claymoring the official, because who doesn't love to see a referee get smacked, right? Has anyone noticed, though, Drew versus the ref, and everyone's against me, is alarmingly similar to Becky versus Jessica Carr, the ref over on Raw. Rinse and repeat. But now we aren't even waiting for the story to finish. They are literally just changing the names and running at the same time, mugging us all off. Look, I'm really glad to have Chelsea back as champ, but as I said, what about Giulia? What have they done to her? She came up with such fanfare, and she's just been absolutely she's been rinsed. I just words fail me with this show tonight. Listen, I know this has been a slightly shorter show than normal, but as I explained at the beginning, I am late. Thanks, Vodafone Broadband. Late recording, had to sandwich everything into the rear half of my day, and as I said, I only just finished watching the show. So my apologies for the lateness once again. My apologies for the shortness of the show. And I can assure you I'll do everything in my power to get things back to normal for you guys for next week. And hopefully with a slightly better show, because, jeez. So that just about does it for me here tonight. Thank you, as always, for having me in your ears. And remember, until next time, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.